We're gonna talk about visas, infrastructure, safety, housing, food, the people. We're gonna go over everything. I hear people saying, oh, I'm an expat. No, you're an alien. You're an immigrant. You're a foreigner. You're a guest in that country. Taxi drivers in both countries, they will scam and get you. It wouldn't be good experiences. And I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I would say you are at more high risk of being a victim. All you can do is respect their rules. What's going on? This is Travel with Muhammad. I've been seeing a lot of topics or debates on which country is better between Thailand and the Philippines. I was just in the Philippines for 4 months, and now I've been here in Thailand for 3 months. And I understand different travelers gonna have different experiences, but what I'm seeing online is somewhat similar, but a little bit different from what I've experienced. So here's the first thing. We're gonna talk about visas. Visas in Thailand compared to visas in Philippines. I don't wanna make this a comparison video, but let's talk about the visas in Philippines. If you are a traveler or you wanna live or stay in the Philippines, Philippines is foreign friendly. They make it easy for you to live there. The visa process isn't hard, it isn't difficult. They're not requiring a lot of things. You can land there on a tourist visa for 30 days. You can get another extension for 30 days. You just pay the fee. Then you can get a 2-3 month extension. So you can basically just keep extending your visa and stay for, I don't know what the limit is. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's like 8 to 10 months out the year. And I would say they are one of the more friendly countries out here in Southeast Asia that will allow you to stay here. I'm not of age for retirement, so I can't speak on the retirement visas, but retirement visas are also easy to get. They're not requiring a lot of documents. You don't have to go through hoops and things like that. And I did see something about they changing the retirement visa to 40 years. You don't see too many countries doing that. This is the first that I've heard that they are bringing down the age limit to 40 years for their retirement visa. I've seen people stay in the Philippines for a longer period of time without extending their visas. And I wouldn't suggest it, I wouldn't recommend it, but you go to the airport, you pay your penalty based off how many days was your overage. I wouldn't recommend keep doing that because yes, you could get blacklisted, but I have been seeing a lot of people do that without any problems. Thailand. I would say Thailand is very difficult in obtaining a visa. Even if you are at retirement age, there's a lot of requirements. You need a lot of documents. Then you have to maintain your bank account. You have to deposit so much money in these accounts every month. This is for retirement. But if you are younger, the options for visas are limited. They did roll out the DTV visa. If you don't know, this visa is gonna get overhauled. It's complicated. It's not simple. It's not easy to get. And since I've been here in Thailand, I've been to a lot of visa places and they will not touch the DTV visa. They've been having a lot of issues. I'm not here to speak politics, but one thing I've learned and noticed, things can be changed in a matter of one day. And they will change a rule and it's implemented right away. They don't say, okay, in 6 months, we're going to implement this change. When they change some things, they change them right away, instantly. And that's one thing that I've seen. I haven't seen in many countries. When you fly into Thailand on a tourist visa, it's 60 days. It used to be 90 days. They did want to change it down to 30, but then they settled on 60 days. They are still talking about changing this to 30 days. Past that, tomorrow it can be something different. But what I've seen is, if you have some money to invest, they do have this VIP visa you can get. So right now, you get your 60 days, you can do an extension for 30 days, and then after that, it's up in the air. People used to do border runs that was real popular back then, and you had 90 days, you go do a border run, get them back in, get another 90 days. But then they said they putting a stop to that because people are circumventing the system, but things have changed. They've been denying people. I've seen some posts of people being denied multiple entries. I don't know what these multiple entries are. 3, 4, 5 times a year. I don't know what that magical number is, but When it comes to visas, I'm giving this to Philippines. Thailand, hopefully it gets better. I don't know. I have to leave because I'm trying to figure out what type of visa I can get. Yes, I have income. Yes, I have savings, but that it doesn't mean anything here if you don't qualify for their visas. All you can do is respect their rules. This is their country. Next, let's talk about safety. Safety is a big deal. It should be a big deal for a lot of people, but I know it's not for everyone. And it depends on how you move, will be based on how safe you are in these countries. Let's talk about Thailand. Well, let's talk about the whole world in general. There's crime all over the world. Certain countries are dealing with other things more than others. So Thailand, what I've noticed, and keep in mind, me saying I've been here 3-4 months, I've been here multiple times, but I've been here for 4 months straight. Big difference from when you're just coming somewhere for vacation. You go on to your tourist destinations, you in and out in 2 weeks. You're not really seeing the whole picture. And that's what I've noticed since I've been traveling full time now, compared to just going on vacation somewhere. So I'm seeing things in a different view. You are safe in Thailand. They do have crime. You won't see a lot of crime on locals towards the foreigners. There is crime when it comes to drugs, or you might have some petty thefts. This is dealing with the local side. For the foreigners, you will see the reports of theft, but keep in mind, this is coming with the cost of what you're doing where you are. So if you're in Pattaya and you're dealing with a lady and y'all exchanging, doing adult things, and there's a disagreement and a fight start, that's a crime. But that's if you engaging in that activity. I would say for the most part, I can walk out at 3-4 in the morning, any time of day, anywhere I've been so far. I've been to 8 to 10 cities so far in Thailand, and I haven't felt unsafe one bit. I would say that this is probably one of the safest countries I've been to. Let's talk about Philippines. Philippines is a little rough. I will hear people down talk or downgrade the situation that's in Philippines. And I was law enforcement in Texas. I was police. So how I look at crime and how I look at safety might be different from other people's view. But, you know, I was on the streets for 9 years, fighting, dealing with folks, but when I travel, I do also assess the crime. I also look at, should I be here, or is it unsafe? I have been to some places where I probably shouldn't have been. I have been in places where I saw how things moved, and I said, well, let me remove myself from this situation. I just got out of there. That's just what it was. But the safety in the Philippines, it's a high risk. There are a lot of foreigners living in Philippines. From the time I was there, I noticed there is crime. Safety for foreigners, I would say you are at more high risk of being a victim. If you don't know, or if you haven't seen or done research, there are kidnappings, there are, you know, the K word of foreigners. You get robbed, you get your phone snatched, it happens. It's happening. There was just a foreign couple that got robbed, and they also took them out, and they were old. This is an old couple. His wife was Filipina, and I don't know what country he was from. I have been in places in the Philippines where it might feel dangerous, but once you get there, people smile and laugh and they chop it up with you. Everything's cool, you good. I did meet a lot of good Filipinos there, a lot of great people in that country, and you were here often. Be careful. Make sure your phone is put up. Don't take your phone out here. Make sure your money in your wallet is here. In Thailand, there's none of that at all. You have to be careful. You have to watch how you move in the Philippines. That's just my opinion. There's a lot of foreigners living in Philippines, and I've been to some places like in the province or somewhere where there might be a foreigner living there, and they living a good life. They've been there 20, 30 years. But then you have other places like Mindanao, like Davao City. If you don't know about that area, it's known to be violent, and there's a lot of foreigners living there. I don't even want to visit it, and I don't want to be in the middle of anything. I'm not here to talk about politics and religion, but there is a lot going on that island, and this is just one of many islands in the Philippines. But if you ask me, safety, I'm gonna be honest with you. Philippines is not as safe if you want to compare between the two. So I'm gonna get this one to Thailand. Let's talk about food. Each country has a different style of food that they have to offer, and both are good. And depending on your religion and your background, if you're Muslim, then Philippines would be a tough state for you. It'd be hard to live in the Philippines because most of their protein, most of their meat is pork. That's their main source. That's one thing I would say I found difficult while I was there. I'm a healthy eater. I didn't grow up eating pork. I didn't grow up eating pork every day. So pork and rice, you will see it on every corner. They do have other dishes, yes. But for me, I was staying there. I couldn't cook. I wasn't cooking. And if I needed to go out and find some food, it was either fried chicken or fried pork. The options around tourist areas, I saw a different variation. It depended on how big the city was for that tourist location. Places like Cebu City, Manila, Angela City, you will have a bigger, more variety. But one thing I noticed is the choice option for food, most of it was bad. Either McDonald's or Burger King or KFC. It was all unhealthy. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. I found very few healthy spots. Finding beef in the Philippines was tough. And I had to ask people, why is it hard to find beef here? And they just said it was just an expensive meat. Fish was expensive. I found that hard. I understand the fishermen have to go out there and catch it, and then they sell it to the people who sell it at the markets. But to have all these islands, I could not believe why the fish was so expensive. And it was hard to actually find fish. I went to a lot of restaurants trying to search for fish, and you couldn't find it. You could find it in the markets, but trying to find it where I was, I found that to be difficult. I would say Thailand's food is a little bit more on a healthier side with their traditional dishes. You do have more options. You will see a lot of chicken, you will see pork, and you will also see beef. And rice is on their dishes, but you will have the options with noodles and a lot of other different things. Veggies, soups, things like that. For the big tourist destinations, you will see all the fast food places, but you will see a lot of healthy places. And you will see places like steakhouses and things like that. You will see steakhouses in Manila, but if you outside of Manila, good luck. And it's gonna be expensive. Thailand food is a lot healthier, in my opinion. I'm not comparing which one is good and bad and tastes better. No, they both taste good, but when it comes to just your options, if you're a foreigner and you trying to figure out where you want to live and you looking at food options, if you into being healthy and eating healthy, you will pick Thailand over Philippines. So for this one, I have to give Thailand the thumbs up. The housing situation, the cost of living in both of these countries, they are very much similar. So when I was thinking about this topic, I was trying to figure out what I could say that's different from the two. And one thing I would tell all foreigners to be careful when it comes to scams. If you're online and they say put 50 deposit down, 50% for you to reserve, don't do it. On both sides, that's in Thailand and Philippines. I've seen a lot of it in the Philippines. If you go on Facebook Marketplace, you don't know who you're contacting. And the first thing they ask, or if they ask for a deposit, I would just say no. I've been in a lot of Facebook groups that talk about, yeah, I got. I showed up, found the owner. They wasn't the person I sent the money to. I'm seeing that a lot more in the Philippines. I've seen a few in Thailand, but not as many. Um, Bang for your buck, I would say, depend on where you're staying. If you're staying in tourist areas or if you're staying with the locals, it's kind of 50-50. I will lean more towards Thailand with bang for your buck when it comes to being in the tourist area. I've been in a lot of Airbnbs, I've been in a lot of hotels in both countries, and I did a video of Philippines. That video I did, it didn't show all other places that I researched, I looked at, and there you can get a 23 square meter place for the same price as something way bigger in Thailand. I have seen a big difference with the market when it comes to sharks, and that's me. I'm saying this nicely. There's a lot of sharks in Philippines. You will get charged for something and the bed will be old, the pots and pans will be old, crusty. They don't keep the place up and they asking for top dollar for that area. I've been to some places where I've seen that. Thailand, you don't get that as much because it's gonna stand out like a sore thumb. But one thing I like and I appreciate about Thailand, you will have Russian owners, Chinese owners, Thai, American, and the pricing is pretty similar across the board, and their standard is a little bit higher. The furniture is nicer. You will have newer things inside. So I will give both of them a thumbs up. I would say be careful with both, with scammers and things like that. Infrastructure. Big difference. I don't even want to compare it. It's tough to compare this because I don't want to make one country look worse than the other. Infrastructures are there for both, but if you want to compare, Thailand is trumping the Philippines tenfold. And it's not even a fair fight in my opinion. Yes, Philippines have roads, bridges, hospitals, schools. Thailand have the same thing. When it comes to options, if you're a foreigner and you speak English and you're trying to find schooling, then Philippines is going to be your go-to. You're not going to have many options in Thailand because English isn't their first language. That's one thing you have to consider if you have kids that need to go into school. I know we're talking about infrastructure, but in Philippines, everybody's speaking English. In Thailand, once you get out of them tourist areas, you're not gonna find many people that speak English. And I've been traveling a lot. I've been to a lot of areas in Thailand where there's no tourists around. And you might have 1 or 2 people. I'm just generalizing. If out of 10 people, maybe 2 gonna speak English. If you go to Philippines, all 10 will speak English. Back to the infrastructure. I've driven a lot around Philippines. The roads are nice. They have a lot of bad roads that do need work, but you're not living there for the roads. When it comes to hospitals, depending on what island you live on, you might have to be around in a big city to get good health care. In Thailand, there's a lot of options in a lot of cities. There's hospitals everywhere, private, public, and insurance. That's a whole nother video, but cost of insurance, they both pretty much the same when it comes to going into a hospital. Flooding, sewage, I would say Thailand is much better. While I was there in the Philippines, you can get flooded out real quick. In some areas, they just known for flooding. And you got rainy season every year, you're gonna get flooded out. I was driving where I knew certain areas was gonna get flooded because of the locals telling me, and I was trying to rush, hurry up, get back to the house before the rain just started pouring down, because if I didn't, I probably would have been stuck. So for infrastructure, I'm gonna give a thumbs up to both. I've been to some countries where the infrastructure is bad. Yes, neither are perfect. You can't compare it to America or Europe, but I will say they are good. Next, let's talk about the land. The scenery You can go to the mountains, you can see the ocean, you got lakes. Both countries are beautiful. I've been to Chiang Mai, Thailand, where it's just mountains. You'll see a lake. Then everywhere else, you're at the ocean, you're on an island, you're seeing mountains in the background. Same with Philippines. Both get a thumbs up for that. Drawback, I'm speaking on land, but when it comes to the people loving their land, you will get a lot of trash in Philippines. You will see it in the oceans, you will see it in the rivers, on the streets. That will tie into infrastructure and, you know, trash pickup, but people will throw their trash on the ground and not think twice about it. Seeing that, I tell a lot about if the people respect their land, if they love their land. You know, for me to see ocean views in the US, you gotta be on either coast, east or west. And then depending on where you at, if you in California with some ocean views, you spending millions. I was in $25 hotels looking at ocean views with mountains in the background out here. That's $1 million view right there. I can wake up to that every day. Let's talk about the people. I got a lot of Filipino followers. I got a lot of Thai followers. I love both. But the people, it can change if you want to live somewhere. Both countries have their drawbacks. Thailand, land of the smiles, I would say every smile isn't real. Every smile isn't genuine. And it took me time to be here and see how people move to understand what's behind it. And we're gonna come back to that. But like I said, each country has its drawbacks. The people in Philippines, to me, they're the nicest people on this earth. They are one of the nicest people. I can say the same with Thailand. You will have your bad apples. We can talk about the taxi drivers. The taxi drivers in both countries, they will scam and get you. That don't make all the people bad. I'm speaking in general. Overall, what I observed from the 4 months I've been in each country. Going back to crime, it kind of ties in to the people, and this also ties in with poverty. One thing I've been noticing and seeing as I've been traveling around the world is how poverty, money can affect your morals, your integrity, your honesty. And this is another whole video of its own. I can list 5 countries and tell you what I observed from all 5 on how the people move and how they would treat you, and how you would get certain reactions and responses based on what's going on. I'm traveling, living with locals that's working. I can relate to them more than I can with, you know, somebody with a lot of money. So that's why you don't see me making videos in Bangkok in the nightclubs with the locals, dressing fresh and this, and I don't want to be around that. It does come with a price. So I did have some friends in another country say, well, why are you around these people? You shouldn't even be around these people. And I asked why, and it all comes down to social class, education, how much money you have. And I was like, nah, they still people. I hope I don't get judged like that, but you will, and you do. So the people overall, both are nice, but I will say they're a little bit more grimier in the Philippines. And I did a lot, and I was around a lot to come to this conclusion. And this is a whole nother story. But to keep it short, it also plays with poverty and what you're dealing with. And just a quick example, you can see I did a lot of videos with me giving and passing food out in a lot of countries. So one example in the Philippines, I'm not gonna say the town, but I went to several towns to pass out food. And the rules were, you know, 1 5-kilo bag of rice for each family. When it was time to pass food out, we explained this to everyone. 1 bag of rice for each family. Nah, they would have 8 family members lined up to get a bag each. And I said, well, I couldn't understand, but I understand because I come from nothing. But you see how they think. You see how people move. I've been to some countries where I would say 1 each, and they would get 1 each. I'm not just traveling just to travel. I'm traveling to learn and understand and love people and just see the world. So I can't really say I'm on a mission, but I'm enjoying my exploration. I'm learning about people. And when I mention Land of the Smiles in Thailand, I talked to some locals. You will hear their experiences with foreigners. It wouldn't be good experiences. And I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I'm a guest in this country. That's one thing I would say. I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm an expat." No, you're an alien. You're an immigrant. You're a foreigner. You're a guest in that country. When I see foreigners treating the locals like dirt, bad, disrespectful, man, I say I just wanna, oh. But it happens. And when I sit and talk to a lot of them, I would ask, does this happen often? And some would say yes, or some would say yes, this group of people do it more than this group. And I can understand why and how some of the smiles won't be as genuine, authentic, and real. I would say I kind of understand, but then I don't understand why a lot of foreigners live in Philippines. I do understand quite a bit. And they might have a family there, or they might have married a Filipina. We can get on a whole nother story of the Filipino women compared to the Thai women. Thai women are spicy. Filipinas, depending on where you find her, where you get her, she could be spicy. But overall, two different type of women. And I can understand why men are going to the Philippines to find a wife and start a family there. Overall, if I was to pick which country I could live in or would live in between the two, it would be Thailand. I would say it would not be in the tourist city. I couldn't live in the Bangkok or Pattaya. And if I did, it would be on the outskirts. I wouldn't live in the tourist areas. And I notice most foreigners that do live in these type of countries, they not living in the action. They not living where all the partying and things are at. So if I was to pick, it would be Thailand. And it would be Thailand for many reasons. I'm meeting great people all over. A lot of beautiful people in the Philippines. I'm definitely go back and reconnect and do more videos there. My time's coming to an end here in Thailand because of the visa issue. You know, trying to get a visa it's been a headache. I'm about to hit some other countries, do more content, like, share. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. Peace.